The fifth thing they do is leaders address problems. Leaders address problems. Now, one of the challenges for many of us is that we are avoiders of problems. We're avoiders of conflict, we're avoiders of problems. You know, we just don't want to think about the problems, and so we sort of bury our head in the sand when it comes to problems, and we just sort of let them slide. And the problem is we let those problems slide long enough, and they can sink the ship. Right? You get a little bit of rust starting to work away at one part of the ship, and you think, you know, I don't want to deal with that right now, I'll deal with that some other time, and pretty soon you find that you've got water coming into that ship, and you're sinking because you failed to address the problem. Well, let's listen to one particular problem that Captain Cunningham addressed when he was on the Ingersoll. Take a listen.
When I first took command, the guys, I went down and they were talking about the cockroaches in the galley and the mess decks. So I said, we're going to declare war. We're going to get rid of these cockroaches. We're going to rid the ship of cockroaches. And I'd been in command maybe a couple of weeks. So we went down one night and we started spraying. There was a cockroach infestation that you would not believe. So I called, they have a group of people that specialize in endocrinology. So I had these people over, and I said, what do I do? So we started, you know, they started teaching me about the cycles of the cockroaches and all this stuff, and when we needed to spray and how we needed to do this, and we became experts in cockroaches. And you know, it took a while. It took a while, but we got rid of them. It sounds like a silly thing, but it had a big impact on morale, and they knew you were serious. And we got rid of the cockroaches. And they said that had been like that for 5 years. I don't know how they'd lived with it before, but those weren't the standards that we were going to follow after that.
Don't you love that? Don't we all have cockroaches in our ships somewhere? The little problems that may seem little, but you know what? If you're eating or you're living and in your crew quarters there are cockroaches every time you walk across the floor, and when you get in bed you're afraid of the cockroaches that might be there at night, what does that do to morale? And in your church, I don't know what your cockroaches are, but those problems can destroy morale. They can begin to affect things in a tremendous way if we're not careful to address them. Now, because we're problem avoiders, we tend not to look at those things, and for 5 years this has been a problem on the ship. Now, what do you think that did to the crew and the captain's leadership capital when he said, we're going to declare war on cockroaches? I mean, it seems like a small thing, right? But you know what? Suddenly for him, he was a leader who finally addressed the problem. He finally addressed the problem, and he gained the respect of all his crew because he was willing to take on something that was demoralizing to the team. We had something like that. We have a lot of cockroaches around here, but we had something like that not long ago in one of our staff departments, and the office situation was untenable. You may, if you've been here before, you know we had a portable building out here, and the city finally made us get rid of that, and that was a good thing because skunks got underneath it, and the temperatures were bad, and the roof leaked, and we needed to get rid of it. In fact, we couldn't even give it away. We were trying to give it away to anybody who would take it, and nobody would even take the thing. So we let the FBI come, and they practiced doing drills there and breaking down the walls and tearing out the windows, and then the Leawood Fire Department did the same thing after the FBI was done, and then finally we bulldozed the whole thing down. But we had staff in those offices for 10 years. And one of our staff teams, they were in an office situation that really wasn't very tenable, and some of the staff were just saying, you know, this is just, it doesn't feel very good to us the way this is. And at first I'm like, come on, suck it up, you know? This is, when I first started the church, my office was in my 4th bedroom of the house, you know, and then it was in a tiny little closet with no windows, and this is what I'm thinking. But you know what? They don't care about all that stuff. You know, they don't care that you had to walk 10 miles, you know, uphill both ways to school in the snow. This is how it is right now, and it's creating some problems. And so, you know, so what our leadership team did is, hey, let's fix this. We can fix this. And next year when you come, you're going to find that we have a new office suite in one part of our building for one of our teams, and we're excited about that. And then we said, well, why don't you help us design this and help us make it so it's just the way it'll work perfectly for your team. And you know, my hope is that, first of all, just the fact that we listened, I hope, raised morale for that team. And then second, when they're done and they move into offices that they help design, I hope that there's a sense of, hey, this is pretty cool, you know? This is a good place to work, and I want to be here for a long time, and I feel valued and appreciated because somebody saw the problem and they addressed it. So that's part of the job of the leader. The leader is the one who's looking to see what are the issues and how do we address those.